Child stars are adorable when they are on the big screen pulling on our heartstrings, but you'd be surprised to know that behind some of these innocent faces lie offenders, perpetrators, and culprits. Who knew behind those juvenile faces lay some of Hollywood's deep, dark stories involving grave allegations? Here are the top 5 former child actors who were accused of heinous crimes. Number 1. Amanda Bynes. In 2012, after a series of minor accidents and an alleged DUI, former Nickelodeon star Amanda Bynes lost her driver's license, though that was reportedly due to unpaid tickets and fines per E! News. After that, her public behavior seemed to take on a different persona from the bright-faced star fans had come to love. In 2013, she was arrested for allegedly throwing a bong out of her New York City apartment window. 2 months later, she was placed under a psychiatric hold after she allegedly set fire to her neighbor's driveway and injured a dog in the process. She spent nearly 6 months in residential treatment, and her outpatient rehabilitation is reportedly ongoing. Number 2. Jeremy Jackson. Baywatch star Jeremy Jackson played surfer kid Hobie Buchanan on the series from 1991 to 99. He was just 9 years old when he started working on the show, but said he left in order to cope with an addiction to meth, ecstasy, marijuana, and GHB. By early 2015, he was accused of trying to kill his then-wife, fitness model Lonnie Willison, and he was booted from Celebrity Big Brother for allegedly groping a co-star, exposing her chest. In April 2015, TMZ reported that Jackson was accused of stabbing a man at a party, but no charges were filed. 6 months later, he was accused and arrested for stabbing a woman multiple times in her arm, legs, and back. As reported by ET, the violent incident took place when Jackson attempted to steal a vehicle belonging to the woman's boyfriend, receiving a 270-day sentence in LA County Jail and 5 years probation after pleading no contest to the crime. Number 3. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf was successful from a very young age, but as his fame increased, so too did his infamy. As reported by The Mirror, in 2005, he allegedly pulled a knife out during a fight in his apartment complex. He was also arrested in 2007 for trespassing. In 2008, he refused a breathalyzer test after getting involved in a fender bender. And in 2011, he got into a bar fight when a customer reportedly tried stealing his hat. After a relatively quiet 2 years, LaBeouf was accused in 2013 of plagiarizing elements of his short film from cartoonist Daniel Close, according to Time. LaBeouf apologized in a series of tweets that were also plagiarized. A year later, he allegedly headbutted a fellow bar patron and went to rehab after being arrested for being drunk and disorderly during a Broadway performance of Cabaret. In 2015, he was arrested for public intoxication. Then again, in 2017, he was arrested for public drunkenness in Georgia and unleashed a verbal tirade against the police. Coming up next, Orlando Brown. After a wildly successful youth acting career for over 10 years, Orlando was on top of the world. However, he had a slip-up when he was arrested on drug charges. In 2013, the That's So Raven star was driving in Houston with his headlights off, and when he consented to a search, the officer found some grass on the driver's side door. He was charged with misdemeanor possession and released on bond. He got his first DUI in 2011, and after failing to appear in court, he became wanted for not enrolling in an alcoholic education class, which then led to another DUI. Orlando was sentenced to 180 days in jail, and when he got out, things got worse. Orlando was outside a 40-year-old woman's apartment in North Hollywood, threatening to murder her and her child. She claimed they were acquaintances, and he made sexual passes at her, which she denied, leading him to exploding rage. There was a recording of Orlando saying, "I'll kill you, your mama, your daughter, everybody." Then, before his first Vlad TV interview, he was arrested for striking his girlfriend in a police parking lot, of all places. This arrest resulted in police finding methamphetamine on him. Orlando was entering his darkest times. He got arrested by some bounty hunters who broke into his home and took him into custody for possession with intent to sell, felony misdemeanor domestic battery, and obstruction of justice. After he got out, he was arrested again for skipping drug court, all while having a meth pipe on him. A few months later, he got arrested again, this time for trying to change the locks on the door of a friend's restaurant. And in 2016, making vulgar comments about former co-star Raven Simone triggered a massive backlash on Twitter against him. With all these problems stacking up, his family decided it was best for Dr. Phil to intervene and try to help him. After his interview, it was clear how far drugs had taken him. He could not remember how many kids he had or their ages. Orlando had hit rock bottom. However, he claimed he could not dedicate another 90 days of being monitored, stating it as a slap in the face to people that actually need it. Moving on, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan has a tragic story to tell. With her role in Mean Girls, she took the world by storm. The New York Times reports that at one point, she was America's favorite troubled teen. Lindsay's acting career started at the age of 3, but as her celebrity status grew, she started spending more time at New York nightclubs, and stories about her struggles started filling the newspapers. The former child star's struggles with substance abuse were a secret to no one. She started attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings at the age of 21 and later described alcohol as her gateway drug. Over the next 6 years, the actress was in and out of court-mandated rehab. While dealing with addiction, Lohan also experienced plenty of legal issues. From 2007 to 2013, she received numerous DUIs, on one occasion being arrested for drunk driving and in possession of cocaine in just less than 2 weeks after her release from rehab. In 2007, Lohan was arrested twice, and both times she was charged with felony drug possession and felony transportation of a narcotic. The former Disney star had become more famous for her reckless behavior than for her acting. Despite being sent to rehab to get better, things didn't really work out. That same year, she was accused of stealing a fur coat from a woman at a party, and she also allegedly stole thousands of dollars worth of clothes from a model's closet. In 2010, she spent 13 days in jail after violating probation and missing 7 alcohol education classes, but she continued to get into trouble. Lindsay was arrested again for reckless driving and also accused of stealing jewelry from a Venice store. This was clearly the worst time of Lindsay's life, successfully bringing down her acting career forever. Last but not least, Ryan Grantham. This Diary of a Wimpy Kid star turned a gruesome fantasy into reality. Ryan Grantham, as a child actor, achieved his acting debut at just 9 years old in the 2007 film The Secret of the Nutcracker. Soon he featured in other highly successful films, including Diary of a Wimpy Kid, not to mention his guest appearances in popular series such as Supernatural and Riverdale. In March 2020, during the nationwide shutdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Ryan found himself struggling with depression, fantasizing about violent acts and suicide. One day, as his mother was playing the piano, he loaded his .22 caliber rifle, crept up behind her, and without any hesitation, pulled the trigger, shooting her in the back of her head. Ryan picked up his camera and recorded his 4-minute confession, showing his mother's body lying on the floor, murdered in cold blood. He hung a religious rosary from the piano, arranged candles around her, and went on to set his master plan into motion, heading out in his car to Ottawa to murder the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. However, upon reaching British Columbia, he turned his car around, heading towards Simon Fraser University, his school, for his act of mass violence. But upon arriving in Vancouver, Ryan pulled his car up near a police station, and instead of executing the violent plan running through his head, he confessed his crime to the police. Ryan was subjected to an automatic life sentence after divulging the whole truth about the murder and his planned violent escapades, and sharing the journal and tapes he had been keeping, filled with evidence against him, including the video of his recorded confession and footage showing his mother's body. All these incidents make you wonder, is the life of a child actor too much for such a young mind to bear? Just how happy were these actors' lives after all? For someone with their whole life and career ahead of them to end up inflicting a horrendous fate on people they love, somewhere along the way there must have been just too much pressure for these actors to handle. If you found these stories compelling, don't forget to like this video and comment your take down below, and subscribe so that you don't miss each time we reveal a new shocking case.